Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So I've got a really fun video for y'all today. This is an appetizer video, perfect for all your holiday parties that you might still have going on with New Year's coming up and everything. But these are also just great to make anytime. But we're taking a retro spin on things and pulling recipes from the 1980s. I've even got my Golden Girls shirt on to match the occasion. I used to watch the Golden Girls when I was a kid in the 80s. Y'all let me know if you have anything that you enjoyed from the 80s, whether it be TV shows, recipes, anything. I'd love to see that in the comments. But I'm really excited to share these recipes with y'all. So let's go ahead and get to the video. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our 7-layer dip. This is a recipe I found that was, popular in the 80s, and so I wanted to share this one. I just think it's kind of fun sticking to a theme of especially decades, although some recipes really do span multiple decades, I feel like, but definitely have popular times of when they were more popular and such. But this one's super easy, really delicious. So we're just chopping these tomatoes up, and we're going to set those to the side. You can definitely take some shortcuts here where you can, go ahead and buy guacamole, which is what I did. You could use homemade pico or homemade salsa, or you can buy it. You really can kind of make this your own. And I actually saw several variations of this too. So definitely feel free to kind of change up this recipe to the toppings you kind of like to put in this dip. But we've got a cup of sour cream here, and I've just mixed a little bit of taco seasoning in with it. The recipe actually called for a whole packet of taco seasoning. I felt like that would be a little much, so I didn't do that. It actually said to mix it in with the beans, but a lot of comments I saw said to do it with the sour cream instead, and so that's what I went ahead and did. And we've just got our refried beans. I did heat those up just to make them nice and spreadable, and then that way I could spread them really easy on this bottom. And we're going to go ahead and put our sour cream on that, and then next is going to go the guacamole. Now I will tell you that the guacamole is definitely not easy to spread. You're going to see that in just a minute. It's kind of, guacamole is kind of chunky, and so it's not like really easy to spread. So it did kind of almost mix in with the sour cream. So I feel like if you wanted to, you actually could mix the sour cream and guacamole together. It's just up to you. It just kind of depends on how you might, want to layer it up. I don't feel like there's any right way or wrong way to do it or anything like that. I will say I've also seen people do like the individual cups, like the little clear plastic cups, and that's such a cute way of doing it too. And of course that'd be a little easier. You just put a little dollop of guacamole in there too if you want to do that. Now, the recipe called for salsa, and I found this on sale at Publix. It's more like almost like a pico instead of like a true salsa, and so I actually love pico. Like, it's so good, and I thought this would be really fresh tasting, and so I thought this would be a great choice for this. Definitely feel free to use your favorite salsa here. Totally up to you on what you would like to do on there. And we're going to go ahead and layer on some Mexican blend cheese, and just put however much you want. It said a cup, which I think I probably used a little more than a cup. And then some black olives. I actually used half of what the recipe said. So what I'm going to do in the description box is I'm just going to write what I did, because it's kind of different from the recipe. But definitely feel free to use, more olives if you like. I actually kind of wished I'd put a little more after we started eating this, because I definitely love olives on there. And then we've got our tomatoes, and we're also going to sprinkle some green onions. And it's really that simple, y'all. It's like such a quick, recipe to come together. Perfect to take to get-togethers, perfect appetizer if you're going to do like maybe appetizers for New Year's Eve or something like that. And of course, you'll want to serve this with some tortilla chips. But I do think there's lots of ways you could use this, like even as almost like a side dish for like Mexican type food. I feel like it would be great with so many things, honestly. But, as a dip, tortilla chips are definitely my choice. Such a yummy recipe. So we're going to go ahead and get started on our potato skins. This is a really delicious appetizer as well. Popular in the 80s. And again, I feel like it's just continued in popularity. I don't feel like it's ever necessarily fell out of popularity. Although I do feel like there's some variations now. I've seen those potato skins like where you cut them into kind of like coins, the potatoes and stuff like that. So I need to try those as well. But I'm just getting these green onions chopped. And I actually chopped all of them because I went ahead. I knew I was going to use them for that other recipe that we just watched, and so I thought I'm going to have them on hand. And that's always such a handy thing if you can kind of prep ingredients, especially if you know you're going to use them across multiple recipes. If you can go ahead and prep them ahead of time, and then it makes it a little easier the next time you use them. So we've got some baked potatoes here that we've baked in the oven. These are smaller ones. You kind of, I think it's probably better to use a little smaller ones if you can. I will say this batch of potatoes I had, I don't know, I had several bad ones in it, so the recipe calls for 6 potatoes, but I only was able to have 5 because there were several bad ones I had to throw out. So it's always disappointing, but I feel like that happens sometimes. So I'm just scraping the insides of these potatoes out. You want to leave about 1/4 of an inch there. And once we get all these scraped out, we're actually going to go ahead and brush them with a butter mixture. Now, in the butter mixture, it calls for parsley, seasoned salt, and garlic powder. I didn't have any seasoned salt, so I didn't use that. I just put garlic salt in there, and then I used the parsley and a little bit of garlic powder. So I feel like you can definitely feel free to change this up how you want. But I will say this was delicious. Like, I don't remember having that kind of flavor on potato skins when I've had them before with that buttery taste on there. So I feel like this is a great step to take to make them taste extra good. And once we've got them, the butter on them on the front, we'll go ahead, or on the inside, we'll go ahead and put them cut side down. And then once they're cut side down, we can brush it over the tops of them. That just is easier so your hands don't get all buttery and everything. And then we're going to actually bake these in the oven for, it said for 15 minutes. I think I did 10 minutes though, because y'all, the thing about this recipe was they did not put the temperature you're supposed to bake them at in the oven, like when you do this part. You know, they did say to preheat the oven to 425 and bake the potatoes at 425. So I went ahead and kept it on 425. And to me, 15 minutes would have been way too long. So just be careful of that. Kind of go with your oven, whatever works best for you. But now that we've got them baked on that one side, we're going to flip them over and bake them again just for a few more minutes, about another 5 minutes. And just keep a close eye on them, make sure they're not getting burnt or anything. So I'm just chopping up my bacon now. That just called for 3 pieces. I will say I did have one family member who said they would love more bacon on it, so we may use a little more next time. And definitely feel free to use, whichever bacon you like. We've just really been enjoying this turkey bacon lately. And of course, I feel like anything like this, you try it once and you feel like, okay, it needs more of this, or it needs, less of that, or that type of thing. So it's always a good learning experience the first time you make a recipe. And I'm just putting some sharp cheddar cheese on these. I think the same person said they wanted more cheese. I would not have minded more cheese. So I'm probably going to go a little heavier on the cheese next time as well. It's just, cheese is delicious, and especially with potatoes and bacon, how can you go wrong? So we're going to put that back in the oven for just a few minutes, let that kind of get all melty, and then bring that out and plate it up. And you can serve it with sour cream. We're also going to top it with green onions. Of course, if you don't like green onions, you can feel free to leave that off. Y'all let me know in the comments down below, do you have any favorite appetizers that you specifically remember from the 1980s? Or if you don't, just tell me kind of what some of your favorite appetizers are, maybe what your New Year's plans are. Are you hosting a get-together? Are you making some fun recipes? Let me know in the comments down below. But y'all, these were so good. We will definitely be making them again. So we're going to go ahead and get into our stuffed mushrooms. This was another popular recipe in the 1980s. I feel like there's probably various ways you can make these, but this is just the recipe I found online. And so I have never made these before either. So actually all 3 of these recipes are recipes I've never made before. But we're just going to pull the stem out of all of those mushrooms and get those chopped up. And you're going to want them really fine, so you can even go back over them if you want to. I did cut this recipe in half because not everyone in my house loves mushrooms. In fact, I'm the main one that loves them. And then I have one who kind of, likes them okay kind of thing. So I did cut this recipe in half. I used an 8-ounce package of mushrooms, and that was perfect for this recipe. Now, once we get these done, we're actually going to saute these in a skillet with some butter and just get them all good and kind of get all the liquid that might come out of them. You don't want it too wet with the rest of the stuff we're putting in there, so we're going to put breadcrumbs in here. So you're going to want to saute these for a few minutes, and then we're going to add in some garlic and saute that for just another minute. Now, I will tell you, you do add the breadcrumbs into here, and I do have something I feel like I would change with these, because these were good, but I kind of felt like I missed the crunch from the breadcrumbs. I think because it's mixed in with this mixture, you do kind of miss a little bit of the crunch, and so I think I would do these a little different next time. So the way the recipe goes is you put this crumb mixture in the bowl, and then you add, you mix it in with the sour cream, and then, or not sour cream, the cream cheese and the Parmesan cheese. Put you some seasonings in there. And I feel like that it needs to, like, once you get these stuffed, it would be really good to dip them back in breadcrumbs again, like on the top, because it should stick with the cream cheese mixture. Because I feel like the crunchiness of the breadcrumbs kind of got lost in the cream cheese mixture, and I use panko breadcrumbs, so I would recommend, if you want kind of more of that crunch, maybe put some on the top or something like that, and then that might be a good way to kind of still keep that crunch. Now, I did use the more shredded Parmesan cheese, rather, it said grated, but honestly I felt like shredded seemed like it fit better for me here, and so that's what I used. But definitely feel free to use whichever you want. But you can see these here, they are definitely creamy enough to where you could dip them in some breadcrumbs, get that to stick in there, and then you'll have more of that crunch on top. We do top these with some Parmesan cheese, and you're going to bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes until they're just golden brown. Just keep a close eye on them. You'll bake those at 400 degrees. But thank y'all so much for joining me today. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. It's just so fun, I feel like, to do some of these retro recipes and everything, especially during the time I grew up. But I hope y'all have a blessed day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.